Hi everyone. I haven't been live in a while actually, so really looking forward to this. I actually wanted to come on this live to just talk a little bit more about my new course, Solids Made Simple, which I'm so excited. So many of you are already purchasing it. And just a reminder that from tomorrow, the price actually goes up. So this is your last chance to get the pre-sale price. And I actually wanted to talk about an important topic today, which is baby-led weaning. This is a topic that I cover in my course as well because, if you go on Instagram, it's all about baby-led weaning. And especially when I talk to my clients, it's very overwhelming to hear that word. Like, especially when you're starting solids, you're like, okay, I want my child to eat well, but I'm nervous about baby-led weaning. So I wanted to dive a bit into the topic of baby-led weaning. And I wanted to give you a bit of history on it because, so many people come to me and they're like, you know what? Baby-led weaning is a fad, right? It's just a trend. But the reality is, if you think about it, many years ago when they didn't have the steamer blenders and they weren't making specific food for babies, what were families doing? What families were doing is they were simply preparing food for the family, and then they were just mashing it a bit, and then they were offering it to the baby. So actually baby-led weaning is something that has been done back in the day. And actually what happened was in the 1920s, moms started going to their doctors and saying, look, I'm not getting enough milk. My baby's 4 months, what to do? So what the doctors were saying at that time was, okay, you don't have enough milk, start with solids at 4 months. And now we know starting with solids at 4 months is not a good idea because babies don't have the enzymes to digest food and it can cause constipation. They're not physically ready for it. But what happened is because doctors told them start with purees, they were like, okay, so obviously babies cannot eat finger foods at 4 months. So they started steaming and blending the foods. And a lot of these big companies out there, these baby food companies were like, okay, there's a need for these purees. Let's make these food pouches. Let's make rice cereal because, we can market to all these moms who want to start solids at 4 months and they just don't have the time and they're getting overwhelmed. So that's actually how all these products came into being. So baby-led weaning is not a fad, but of course it is still overwhelming. So what is baby-led weaning? If you're doing baby-led weaning, it means you are preparing family meals for your baby and you're preparing food in finger food versions. So, in pieces that you put in front of them and they actually pick it up and they take it and they gnaw on it, right? And the thing with baby-led weaning is that parents cannot intervene. You have to put the food in front of the baby and take a step back. You can guide them a bit, but you cannot feed your baby. And, that is a bit overwhelming because not all babies are going to pick up the food and put it in their mouth. A lot of them play with it. And actually that's okay because that's how they learn about food. But for a lot of parents, it's hard to see. So let's talk about spoon feeding. So spoon feeding is when you prepare the food in a mushy form and you preload the spoon and you feed the baby. Now, what is the issue with spoon feeding? The issue with spoon feeding is two things. Number one is that you are feeding the baby. So when you feed a baby, what happens is they tend to just swallow the food. So it's not actually teaching them to chew. And the other thing is that when you spoon feed a baby, the baby doesn't actually see the food. So they don't know what a broccoli looks like, what a carrot looks like. And that's very important. And the third thing is that babies actually, with spoon feeding is they'll take two bites, suddenly they close their mouth and parents panic. Oh my God, my child just had 2 bites. What are we going to do? And because you're spoon feeding instead of letting them eat on their own, what happens is they also then, parents start to force the child a bit. And obviously then babies are like, I don't want to sit here. I know I'm going to have to sit there for 45 minutes and be forced to eat. So they don't really want to sit there anymore, and that's how it kind of leads to picky eating. So spoon feeding, those are the main issues, right? They don't see the food, they end up being forced to, eat it, and they're not in control. So what do we do, right? So what do we do about mealtime? So I know baby-led weaning is a lot, and I know spoon feeding, we know we want to slowly move away. So that's exactly what I teach in my Solids Made Simple course, which is launching on October 9th. In that course, we do something called a baby-led approach. So it's actually a mix of purees and finger food. And why I think this works so well is because you are offering your baby food in different forms, because not all kids might take to the puree and some might love the finger food. Like, you don't know how your baby is going to react. So by actually showing your baby how food looks, but plus preloading it on a spoon and giving it to them so that they can take it and put it in their mouth, at least your baby still feels in control, but they are also eating themselves. But even though it's a puree form, it's okay because you have the broccoli, you have the carrot there, right? So they can actually see the food and what it looks like. So this is an approach that has worked well with so many of my clients. And of course, if you speak to baby-led weaning experts, they'll say, no, don't even bother offering the carrot in a puree form. Just offer the finger food. But we have to be a little realistic. Baby-led weaning is not for everyone, and that's okay. So that's why I like doing this combination approach. And in the course, this is exactly what I teach you. What to do at meal times, how to prepare the foods, how to prepare finger foods safely so that your baby can pick it up, put it in their mouth, and not choke on it, because I know that's a big worry for a lot of parents. So honestly, this has worked really well. And the main thing for purees is just to remember that do not stick to a smooth puree for too long. So make sure that you're slowly increasing the texture so that by 8-9 months, your baby can eat similar textures to you guys. So this is just a little bit of what I dive into in the course. And I think this is now like the last 12 hours before the pre-sale ends. So if you want to know more and get a clear plan on exactly how to start solids, don't forget to sign up. I will post the link in my bio. And I don't see any questions right now. If you guys have any questions on starting solids, I'll wait for a minute. Let's see. Yeah, I think we're okay. And if you have any questions, please feel free to send me a DM if you have any questions about the course. And you can actually start the course anytime between 6 to 12 months of your baby's age. And looking forward to